Hello and welcome back to Liberal Breakdown. Today, Trump threatened a 50% tariff on all European Union goods and took a wild swing at Apple over iPhones. Let's break down what he said, what it means, and why this should matter to every American, especially if you like your iPhones affordable and your economy stable. So this morning, Trump posted that he's ready to slap a 50% tariff on all goods from the EU, just because trade negotiations are going nowhere. That's not just aggressive, that's economic warfare. And in the same breath, he called out Apple, threatening a 25% tariff if they don't move iPhone production to the US.
Donald Trump has threatened a 25% import tax on Apple unless iPhones are made in the United States. Posting on Truth Social in the last hour, Donald Trump says he expects iPhones to be manufactured and built in the US and not in India or anywhere else. Meanwhile, he's had a wide range of things to say this morning. He says he also wants a straight 50% tariff on the EU beginning on June the 1st because he says trade talks are stuck. Writing on Truth Social, he said the European Union, which was formed for the primary purpose of taking advantage of the United States on trade, has been very difficult to deal with. Our discussions with them are going nowhere. Therefore, I am recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting on June the 1st, 2025. Of course, Apple's saying that they might start manufacturing their iPhones instead of in China, in India to circumvent those swinging tariffs that he was imposing on China.
Absolutely. Tim Cook is no Elon Musk, and he's not even a Mark Zuckerberg. He's a much more low-key, and it had appeared a much more effective, certainly when dealing with Mr. Trump, leader of a tech giant, biggest company in the world, most valuable, depending on where the share prices is from time to time. He was at the inauguration. That seemed to have bought them a little bit of space. But the tariff regime that Donald Trump announced back at the start of last month, which focused on China primarily, posed a huge challenge to Apple, which makes the bulk of its iPhones in China. It started at pace to try and rebalance its supply chains, move to India, and now this direct threat that if they're not made in the US, there'll be a 25% tariff. It's company-specific, very interesting. We'll talk about it more with the EU. Donald Trump's decision to impose tariffs across the board has essentially been an invitation for sectors and specific companies to try and bargain piece by piece with Mr. Trump, probably how he likes it. And here we appear to have a tariff designed not just for a sector or a country, but for a specific company. So very public pressure, whatever's been happening behind the scenes with Tim Cook and the president clearly not going particularly well.
Let's be real. If Trump actually does this, we're the ones who pay. Tariffs aren't paid by foreign countries. They're passed on to consumers. So your groceries, your cars, and yes, your tech all get more expensive. And going after Apple, that's not a win for American workers. That's a reckless threat that could jack up phone prices and disrupt one of the biggest US-based companies. You can't run a country like you're throwing punches on Twitter. A president targeting a single private company with tariffs? That's legally shaky as hell. You better believe Apple's legal team is already sharpening their pencils. This move could get challenged in court fast and probably struck down. And let's not forget, Trump still owns businesses that import foreign goods. So this isn't just reckless, and it's hypocritical. And after dropping these economic bombshells, guess where he's headed? Bedminster, his golf resort, because nothing says serious leadership like torching global trade and then grabbing your clubs.
The federal judge issued a temporary restraining order on the Trump administration's ban on Harvard's ability to enroll international students. Now, that ban would impact nearly a quarter of the student body at Harvard. The administration says it's because of Harvard's handling of anti-Semitism on campus and that enrolling international students is a privilege, not a right. Harvard calls it, quote, clear retaliation for refusing to bow to the White House demands.
It is a big win for Harvard, temporary, but very significant. What this says is the court is blocking the Trump administration from blocking Harvard from bringing in international students. In other words, as of this moment, it's back to the status quo. Harvard may continue to bring in international students. Now, the way this case came about is the Trump administration sent a letter about a month ago in April to Harvard saying essentially, we want the following information on every one of your 7,000 international students. We want disciplinary records. We want records of any obstructive behavior by any of them, any dangerous behavior by any of them. Harvard tried to comply to the extent they could. Some of those terms are very general, but Harvard sent back documents to the Trump administration. The Trump administration said, nope, we're not satisfied, and therefore you can no longer accept these students. Now, the court today said, I'm putting that on hold. The judge said, I'm putting that on hold because to block these international students would cause irreparable harm both to the students, some of whom are currently enrolled at Harvard. Suddenly their status was in question. Can they go back? Can they attend the summer semester? And to Harvard itself, which, as you said, about a quarter of its entire student body are these international students. So for the moment, Harvard is free to continue admitting these students, but the larger issue still has to play out in the courts.
The Trump administration just got checked hard by a federal judge, and legal analyst Elie Honig is calling it a big win for Harvard. This is about Trump trying to kick out international students and punish elite schools for not falling in line with his agenda. So here's the quick breakdown. The Trump administration tried to block Harvard from enrolling international students. They sued, saying this was retaliation for not handing over student records and refusing to bend to right-wing pressure. And guess what? The court sided with Harvard. A federal judge put the brakes on the administration's order, at least for now, calling the move likely unconstitutional. Elie Honig, CNN's legal expert, laid it out. He said this wasn't just a technical win. This was a clear defense of academic independence. Honig slammed the Trump administration for trying to weaponize government power to control what schools can and can't teach. Think about that. Weaponizing anti-Semitism claims to silence academic institutions. That's not justice. That's thought policing. This isn't just about Harvard. This is about every university in the U.S. and every student, professor, and researcher who could be next. The idea that the White House can threaten schools with funding cuts, tax penalties, and enrollment bans? That's not democracy. That's authoritarianism dressed up as policy. The fight's not over. There's a full hearing later this month, and you know the Trump team is going to push back hard. But the court's message is clear. You don't get to rewrite the rules of democracy just because a school won't do what you say. Harvard stood up, and they're not standing alone. Because at the end of the day, if we don't stand up for truth and freedom now, we'll lose them without even noticing. Thanks for watching. Stay loud, stay smart, and stay on the right side of history.